When COVID struck, we went into the debt service suspension initiative, and next year, 2025, countries are expected to start paying, to start servicing their debt after the debt service suspension initiative. And this will actually push countries into a more tighter fiscal space because of the interest rates that have actually been rising, in the international financial market since 2023. So this actually is just also to indicate that the debt service suspension initiative did not actually resolve this issue. It actually only postponed the problem. And then we are today faced with the G20 Common Framework for debt treatment that's actually also not delivering because it is slow in terms of treating the debt, in terms of having countries restructure their debt, in terms of a comparable treatment among countries. And then African countries have showed very limited interest because of the repercussions of actually going through the G20 Common Framework. And it is for that reason that we only have Ghana, Zambia, Ethiopia, and Chad, that have shown interest in this program. And the fact that only 4 has shown interest doesn't mean that African countries have sustainable debt levels that are any better. It is actually concerns about going through that program because it also leads to issues around austerity, issues about macroeconomic reforms that also then cause African countries not to actually have programs or to go into austerity programs that can actually have an adverse effect on the population. And it also has a negative effect in terms of the credit rating. So African countries are at a point where they're actually stuck. And our concern is whether the G20 Common Framework is an enough tool, or whether it's an adequate tool to actually deal with this. Because at the moment, we see that we have actually come closer to a deadlock when it comes to making the African countries actually proceed in terms of restructuring their debt under the common framework. And our concern is, do we now need a different framework, a different arrangement altogether, right, in terms of how we can restructure this debt? So it's a big concern at the moment, and we at Afrodat are also advocating that as part of this arrangement and moving beyond the common framework, we need to start thinking of how to get an international financial architecture that actually deliver within the expectations of African citizens, that deliver or gives African countries more voice, more representation, and more favorable terms when it comes to not only borrowing, but also when it comes to restructuring their debt.